Hello and hi, happy Tuesday. It is time again for my stupid face. But I'm back and I've got another planned video here. We'll see how it goes. I thought today we would have fun with etymology. Not entomology. I don't really know that much about bugs except the fact that they gross me out. I really don't know much about etymology either, to be honest, but I went down a rabbit hole and thought I would share some things with you. Now, I happen to think that the internet is mostly a good thing. It has its downsides, big time, as we have recently found out, but private companies are doing their bit and kicking people off platforms and yay. But I really like I've always got a phone on me or I'm always at a computer. It's like, you get those random thoughts where it's like, where did that come from? What is the etymology of this phrase? And I think it's really nice to be able to look that up and get an answer, because I'm old enough to remember a time before the internet, a time before this stuff was easily accessible. I was talking to my 13-year-old the other day and I was telling him how lucky he is that he can just look things up. I told him, there used to be, when you got assigned a research paper, you had to go to the library and look through the Encyclopedia Britannicas, and you were writing research from a book whose language you could barely understand as like a fifth grader. I mean, I don't know who else would remember that, but the Encyclopedia Britannicas are very academic, I suppose. They're not really dumbed down considering they're reference books, and they should be. And in a way they were, but in a way they weren't. They were really hard to understand. So the point being, I'm really happy that I could look some of this stuff up. Now, it started with the phrase balls to the wall. I am a pulp writer. I am a fan of pulp fiction. I am a fan of I watch a lot of movies that are intended, only for guys. The women in these movies are usually love interests or disembodied boobs, stuff like that. So I have to live with a lot of dude-isms, if that makes any sense. And sometimes I get tired of it. Especially sometimes when women will talk openly about their anatomy and about what it's like having that anatomy, when it means having it as anything other than it being sexual. You'll get the guys that get all squeaked out and go, ew, I don't want to hear about that. And it's, shut the fuck up. Do you know how many times I've had to listen to how your balls are itchy or stuff like that? So I was wondering, is balls to the wall actually about male anatomy? Because Quiet Riot had a song called Balls to the Wall, and I assumed it was. And it turns out, nope. And I don't know if you know this. This could be old news to you. And if it is, I'm sorry. This was fun for me, and I just thought I would share it. I'm really happy, actually, that balls to the wall has nothing to do with testicles. So, I'm going to be looking over at my computer a little bit. But what balls to the wall, oh boy, let's see if I pronounce this word right. Balls to the wall has to do with steam engines. And the centrifugal, I know what a centrifuge is. How do you say this word? Centrifugal, maybe. The centrifugal governor. And what it was it was a we're going to get real dumbed down here, folks, so bear with me. It's a spinny thing, and it has balls on the side. And what it would do is, when it's turned off or only moving very slow, the balls are very close to the central bar. And as you are adding more fuel to the engine, as you are increasing the steam, it would spin faster, and the balls would start to leave the central portion. And as it would spin faster, the balls would open up more. And when you have it opened all the way, max fuel, max speed, whatever it is you're doing with the steam engine, it would be fully open, balls to the wall. That's what that means. I'm going to, down below, we're still on Patreon here, so down below I'm going to put a link that has some neat videos that actually shows what it looks like when the governor is fully spinning and the balls are out like this. It's neat, so give it a watch. I know it feels like I'm sometimes giving you homework, but it's neat. This is just pure neatness. That's what balls to the wall means. I'm so happy for once not to be talking about testicles. Because, you hear it, oh, get some balls, you don't have the balls to do this, blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, honestly, it's something that I never looked at a lot. I was a 90s kid. I was a teenager in the 90s. I graduated high school in 2001. There's been a lot of sort of language recalibrations that I've had to do in my life. And, I still randomly call everybody dude. I'll call women dude. And it makes some people mad. So I do try to stop. I do try to watch it. When I was a teenager, if you thought something was stupid, you would say it's gay. And, you start to get older and, maybe some of your friends start coming out and you go, oh, that's gay. And, oh, really? Is that really what it is? Making you feel like a stupid asshole, rightfully so, and it makes you have to recalibrate the way you speak. That's all I'm saying. I sometimes get tired of all the male anatomy references in our language. Not all the time. Sometimes it's appropriate. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's too much. Come on. The other thing that really what got me started on this, I looked up the balls to the wall thing a long time ago, but I was listening to a podcast, and we live in an age of verbal hyperbole. I do it too. It's lots of fun. Everything has to be exaggerated. Everything has to be way bigger than it actually is. This is what we do now, and I like it. But I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about an unreliable narrator telling the story, and they said, take everything that this person says with like a whole truckload of salt. Meaning, they were expanding on taken with a grain of salt. And I got to thinking, I was like, well, what if it's only supposed to be a grain? What does the measurement actually mean? What if you're ruining the original meaning by saying a whole truckload full of salt? Turns out they're not. It doesn't really matter. But the origin of taken with a grain of salt, they don't really know. They think, according to Wikipedia, that one of the origins include Pliny the Elder's, so we're way back in Rome, Naturalis Historia, regarding the discovery of a recipe for an antidote to a poison. In the antidote, one of the ingredients was a grain of salt, and which also makes me wonder, how big was a grain of salt? Like, we do salt crystals now, but even with various kinds of salt, the crystals vary in size. Like, was it like a pea-sized grain of salt? Also not important, but I was wondering. So anytime anybody would threaten you involving this particular poison, you would just go, well, I'll take that with a grain of salt, because that's the antidote, or one of the ingredients. And it just became, it sort of defangs the threat. So when you have an unreliable thing coming through, when you don't really want to believe what someone is saying, you're told to take it with a grain of salt, like you would the threat of the poison. That's what that means. You can take it with a whole truckload full of salt. You will die because too much sodium kills your poor kidneys. But I just thought that was fun. This is a short one today because I have a ton to do, you guys. Short stories, Women in Horror Month's coming up. I got a book due soon. I got a podcast to do and another one tomorrow. There's a lot to do. I just wanted to check in because, as always, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that I can sit down and take a break from all of this and just talk to you about stupid stuff. If you want to know more about etymology, I would be happy to do an actual 30-minute video on this. I would need a little time to prepare, but I am happy to do so. Check out the video that I link below. Look at what they show you about the centrifugal governor. I'm never going to get that word right. But, yeah. So happy Tuesday. Happy 2021. We're going to have a better year this year, right? January's almost over. We're almost in February. And so far, we're looking like maybe. We'll see. And thank you again. This is like the third time I've said it, but I don't care. Thank you for being here. I will see you next week. And once things slow down, I will start the mini-sodes again, the little bonuses, because I have a stack of books that I want to talk about on the mini-sodes. It's there, I promise. I'm just so busy, but I will get to it. And thank you for being here, really. I mean, we're going to have a discussion again soon. The main podcast is coming up tomorrow. I will post episode 49. And I said when we got to episode 50, I would start trying to draw people's attention to the Patreon again. And if it doesn't grow, we're just going to cut it. There's no reason for you lovely people to be paying money for something that I don't do enough to earn your money. And it's not fair. I mean, why not just do this for free anyway? But I want you to know how much I appreciate you. If I do close down the Patreon, I want to offer you guys something free. I've got books that I can send you. We'll think of something. I mean, I'll send you cookies if you want. We'll think of something. But it's okay. I'm not upset about it. It would have been nice to have this be something, but if it's not, that's okay. You know, you try things and you know, sometimes you fail. That's okay. Learning experiences, right? So I will see you guys next week. And let's see. We got the remote. How's it going to treat me today? How are we going to do? Let's see. Bye.